Always want to establish the guide right here, the coronal zone of the head. Grab a section here, hold it at an angle this way and cut straight down. So once we establish the guide here, we're going to travel that all the way forward, making sure that the front is longer. It recedes in length. The back of the head, right there, right here, and finally right there. Go straight down, separate clean sections. So the guide is established here. Now we're going to travel that forward. Section the hair straight down the apex zone. Now simply travel the guide. Difference in length right there. And just travel that guide. As I grab the section, I dip down here, raise it up here. Also, notice I'm holding it straight up. Never drag it back, drag it forward. So we traveled the guide from the coronal zone of the head straight down to the apex zone all the way forward. We're gonna match it with this side, comb it this way. We're going to be creating horizontal sections in order to match with the side. Make a part, drag the part down, and comb the rest forward. You see right there the difference, and just go ahead and here to hold it. Now we move forward, moving forward. Just notice my angle this way. In order to double check, simply move the hair forward right there. Right here, we can actually just point cut. Just quickly going in, not being super clean right now, just double checking, making sure that everything is even. We can go ahead and cut the left side a little bit longer. That way, whenever he combs it, the longest side combs over. The shortest side over here just kind of like lays down. Create a section right there. Again, we're leaving this a little bit longer. As you trim, try to leave a little bit more length. Again, hug it with your hand. Your middle finger right here, lay it down, part the backside, and rest the section on the finger. Grab it. Now we're just gonna double check. You see right there a little bit of excess length. Just go in and quickly trim that. It's an even as it should be. Perfect, so we got the guide from the back, traveled it forward, matched it to the right side, and then now matched it to the left side. The only thing that's left is the forward hair. So we want this to be the longest, recede in length as it goes to the back. Create a section here, coming at an angle right here. You guys can always point cut this, that way it has even more movement. That way there's some hairs that are longer and there's some hairs that are shorter, giving the hair more movement. And then you can just comb it. The hair is combing in the direction that the client wants it to go without adding any product. All right guys, so now that we cut the top, we are gonna texturize his hair, but we're gonna do that after the fade. It's a little bit more strategic. That way you can see how the haircut is developed and you can add texture as you wish. Grab your number 2, lever close. We're gonna be laying that number 2 right below the parietal ridge or contour zones of the head. So we're just gonna be going straight up, flicking out. Don't do it so exaggerated, but as long as you guys are flicking out and not going into the contour zones, then you should be fine. That's all we're doing, scooping out. You don't have to worry about getting it all the way down here because we're gonna get this off with a lower number later on. Stay down here below the occipital bone, scooping out. Notice how the client has a little bit of a dent right here, but you don't want to go all the way up there and expose it even more. So dip right below that. Now we left a little bit of weight up here, and to get rid of that, simply grab wide teeth comb to do clipper over comb. And we're just gonna blend it in with the number 2. You see the weight right here, expose up here on the bulk, and simply match it with the number 2 length. Angle it at a 35-degree angle, like right there, and just go straight up. You always want to expose a little bit of hair, obviously, because you don't want to cut too much off and later creating a big like bald spot. So always expose a little bit of length at first. As you guys get more practice with clipper over comb, you'll see yourself doing this process a lot faster and your judging skills will be a lot better. So, you know, if you guys are gonna start at first practicing doing this clipper over comb technique, and the only thing I recommend is practice, practice, practice. And again, he has a dense area right here, so we don't want to go like that. We want to scoop out. That's why we're doing the 35-degree angles. Still see a little bit of bulk here, but don't worry about this. I actually take that off with thinning shear over comb. So we'll do that in the end. Now that we have it a little bit more cleaner, then we can continue doing the fade. We use number 1.5 with the lever closed, flicking out just below the area that we hit with the number 2. Remove this little weight right here, these little dark spots. Keep the lever down here, fully open, and using the corners to blend into that number 2. Just a quick reminder, with the 1.5 and the lever fully open, it's basically a number 2. It's exactly why we have it here, and also closing it halfway, so it'll blend in perfectly. Continuing with the process of the fade, creating the guideline with the trimmer, you're just adding more work to yourself, because after you create that line, adds more steps. So instead of using the trimmer, we're actually going to be using our clipper right here with the lever fully closed. Just like you're holding a trimmer with the teeth straight down on the skin. Make sure that if the clipper is, you know, zero gapped and the teeth are super close together, that you don't put too much pressure on the client's skin, or else you're going to leave a big red line of irritation right here. The bottom corner of his temple, we place it in this area right here, right above the tip of the ear. Back here, we want to create a dip, because if it's completely even, we're not adjusting to the client's shape of the head. To give the perfect haircut and make your client feel his best, make sure that you analyze the shape of the head, the curves, everything. So again, dip down. We're not going to take this off. We're going to leave this in the end so that we can take it off with the trimmer. But we do want to clean off, you know, about 1/2 inch right here, all the way around. We can go ahead and take a look at the client from the front, ensuring that the guidelines are even. You can see that this one's a little bit higher, so we just bring this one a tad bit right here. Bring it a tad bit higher right there, and then check again. Perfect. Now we can continue the next guideline up here with the lever closed. The size of this guideline, about 1/2 inch. Measure it with the tip of your finger right here. We don't want to go too high up with the fade. And then as we near the back, you can do 2 finger length. Always follow the shape that you create. That's what's going to create the transition, and that's what'll make it nice and clean. It'll just flow a lot better as well. Whenever you guys want to blend in the guideline, you always want to start hitting it at the ceiling of the guideline, which is the highest section or the highest area of the guideline. So open, close this a tad bit, and then hitting it. You can hit it with the corners if you guys are going to get into like small areas, but mainly to speed up the process, hit it with the whole blade. Obviously scooping out. You always want to do scooping motion when fading. Okay, now we go below the ceiling level and we can start closing our lever a bit more. So halfway, hitting it just below the ceiling area, flaking out from top to bottom. Notice how I'm Okay, cool. So we did the lever open, we did the lever in between open and the middle, we did the middle, and then now to finalize that blend, fully close all the way up, hitting it at the lowest point. You can open it a little bit more and go a little bit higher. If you see any dark spots, you guys basically already know where to move it depending on how high you're going in between that guideline. I got the half guard here. Obviously starting flush at first and then scooping out. Start flush all against the skin and then flicking out, create that guideline. Flush, scoop out, flush, scoop out. Now, before we blend in this guideline right here using the same steps, we're actually gonna grab the 1.5 again and blend this in. That way we have more control of the fade. Fully open down here, flicking out. We still wanna leave, you know, dark up here, but blend in between. If you guys don't tighten the screw in too tight, it might be moving. So always double check that it isn't moving while you guys are cutting. Okay, so now we put the 1.5 here, cleared it up. Now we're gonna work our way down. So we're doing both ways. We're working our way from top to bottom, and then we're also working our way from bottom to top. That way we have more control of the fade. We still need to blend this with the half guard right here, like I said, with the lever. Before we do that, we're actually gonna get rid of this top dark area with the number 1, right below the 1.5. With the lever open, and then gradually close as you blend this dark area right here on top. Without scooping, there is no fade. Using the corners because this is like a little small area here that I need to blend in. Halfway. Again, doing this. Now to soften it up even more, go with the lever closed, scooping out. The lever halfway right here. And going halfway in. This line right here, that is the one that we finish with a half guard, the 0.5 guard. So we start with the lever open. Okay, now we work our way down, going down shorter, so we can put it halfway. So we're just working from halfway close to fully closed, get rid of this line. As we analyze the fade now, after hitting it with the half guard, we can see that the transition is a lot more clear. The only thing is, since I am very detail oriented, and you guys should be as well, because detail goes a long way, you can still see a little bit of a shadow right here and kind of like below the area that we hit with the 1.5. In order to get rid of that, get your clipper without any guards. So start open and then gradually go halfway, hitting those dark spots. Make sure that you're consistent with your movement, so whatever you do to this side, you have to go all the way around. That way it's nice and even. At this point, we don't just cut hair, we create art with hair. We go past the point where the haircut is finished, polish the haircut, we add more detail to the haircut, and we finalize that blend. When you guys start off as beginners, you guys are gonna have to take your time because at first, like I mentioned before, it's always mastering the technique and then after that worrying about time. Grab your comb and we'll do a quick shear over comb. Notice the dark area right there. The tips of the shear, I'm just cutting the tips like that. So the comb is here, or cutting at this angle down here. Make sure you angle the comb. You don't want to go straight in like that, because then you're going to cut off hair up here that we want to preserve. You want to keep this bottom blade stationary and just move the top one like that. You can see a little bit of a shade right here, and just grab your 1.5, polish that away with a few seconds. Shouldn't take you any long. The one guard, go over this little shade right here. Now that we got the fade done, then we can go ahead and remove all this weight from the bottom guide that we created in the beginning. But before that, we're actually gonna edge up his corners just a tad bit. Right there. You can remove all this weight. Remove that weight and you flick out, it'll finalize it right there at that area and there won't be any lines created. Right above that line from the bulk, proceed by removing the bulk. So we just quickly with our thinning shears, go in and just gradually blend, very subtle. You know, not too hard, just quickly going in. Shaver, electric shaver, Braun Series 9. Right in that area that we removed the bulk, with that zone all around the head. This exact zone just below the bald guideline. Even with the shaver, you want to flick out. So remember, flick out with everything. Even when we do shear over comb, notice how we angle the comb to mimic flicking out. So now that we trimmed the top of the hair, let's give the client a little bit of texture. So we grab a comb and you turn it this way like this. Instead of going like that and cutting this way, you turn it this way, cutting this way. Point cut, and you pull out. So you cut, pull out, cut, pull out. Talking motion. Now you see the hair is nice and textured. This one, by the way, is Sharp and Dapper by Ulises Benitez. I'll put the link in the video description. So you just tap on the back and evenly get some on his hair. Grab your index finger and your thumb, pinch and twist. For the finishing touch, we're going to be adding a little bit of Topikk Hair-building fibers just to kind of cover up the dense areas of his head. Even use it to build up the side of the hairline a bit. And to finish off, right here on the neck. Before doing this part, always apply some sort of a shaving cream on the skin, spray a little bit of alcohol and go in with the blade. Clean fade with volume on top, that's nice and textured. Hope you guys took notes on all the techniques that we did, all the tools that we used, all the products that we used, and the way we use them. And I hope that you guys can use them to your advantage. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.